Level podcast. Your Masonic podcast. Join the hosts Billy McIntyre and Sam Earl Sedgey as they delve into the world of Freemasonry.
Hello there. If you're listening to this, it's not by accident. You have been chosen to be entertained by none other than by a man that may or may not have been spending too much time celebrating the year of the fire horse, as he may or may not have been drinking too much soy milk, herbal teas, and celebrating the feast like there is no tomorrow of the Lunar New Year, Eve in Chinatown. Sir Sam Earl Sedgey, lucky that he even lets me tag along on such a ride. I'm Billy McIntyre, and I'm here in the good old USMA, and this is the one and only On the Level podcast.
What an intro.
Doing,
what an epic, legendary intro. Worshipful brother Billy. Worshipful brother Billy. Thank you for the kind words, sir. And what a fantastic, happy Lunar Year to you as well, the year of the fire horse. Mate, did I feast or what? I've been feasting. I do a lot of walking, so I kind of lose it. But man, the feasting has been incredible. But as the listeners know, I do love a good feast. And you know what I say? I say life is not only short because we're not immortal, but it's the finer things in life. It's the good food. It's the camaraderie. It's the being around your family, having good conversation, good memories, and food is kind of like something that binds the family together, and it's something emblematical in Masonry and in the festive board or the meals we have that brings people together, brings people around the table where you start to break bread and you get to know your fellow brother. And it's the same thing in breaking bread with the family. So I wish all of you a happy Lunar New Year, and I also wish you all the health and success that everyone around the world deserves. And by Jolly Joe, it's been good times, and I'm fired up that this gentleman, this brother, this widow's sons of legend had joined us, and just super infectious, so much energy, and it was just great to hear. I want to go and have a drink with this guy and have a steak dinner. I want to go to Scotland now with him. And if he says charge, I'll be on a motorbike, whatever motorbike I need, and just charge down. He says charge.
You got to have a Harley.
I got to have a Harley, right?
I think you'd run off and leave if it's not. Yeah, we had Joe Stormin Norman on for an interview, and we got to hear about some other characters like Rooster. Rooster was a longtime vice president of his. He's retired here for a while, but he might come back. And we've got to hear a lot about what the Widow's Sons have been doing since 1998, when they first started here in Illinois, is where they got their start.
Wow, that's just insane. I mean, it's just such a
now
privilege.
They're worldwide. Pretty much. Well, they're still spreading.
My English brothers who were with those sons who I met, who actually saved a chapter. Now, in England, the Royal Arch and the Craft Lodge, which is what we call Blue Lodge in the US, are very much intertwined. It's very different in America. In England, the Craft and the Royal Arch are very much intertwined. And so when you do your lodge elections, there's also an officer who's appointed to be a liaison between the Crafts Royal Lodge and the lodge itself. So not all lodges, but a lot of lodges in England have their own chapter based on their lodge, and it's kind of like an advancement through their lodge ritual as well as they proceed to the Royal Arch, which is very interesting. But what was interesting for me is going to a certain meeting and seeing these widow sons come in for a couple of years and restore the Royal Arch and give it, its former glory back, and be dedicated to always have given me a really high impression of the widow's sons. And if you listen to Stormin Norman, who's going to come up, he's so infectious, so much passion. And what really touches my heart is people like Rooster, who the ambulance thing that he does all from his own pocket, and the service he does to humanity and to mankind in his local area in helping first responders is huge. the idea of the fellowship and brotherhood that the widow's sons tend to represent. And what's really interesting, just from my observations as a non-widow's sons, which was always kind of weird because it was never explained to me before, was how tight certain pockets of widow's sons are, and how excited these fellow brethren are being widow's sons, and how committed and loyal they are in terms of turning up and doing stuff. And I think that's great.
Well, really, that's how all Masons should be. That's what, if you really listen to our obligation, that's how we all should be.
Exactly.
I think they just go above and beyond what a lot of Masons do. We should all take our obligations to heart, and I think widow's sons do that. As far as just like we talked about Rooster and how he takes his obligations to the people in need to heart, and that's how we should do as Masons.
That means a lot to me, because I take those obligations and those oaths really seriously. And
I know you do.
And the fact that there is an appending body that reinforces that to the next level, and seeing that happen and then practicing that is to me is just so heartwarming. And the fact that the focus is always on, it's your Blue Lodge first, and there is this kind of like self-policing within that appending army to make sure that people are active, is huge. And it's just really heartwarming. I can see why you were so. It was when you were the most worshipful Grand Master of the Cryptic Masons, and you did the Grand Master's ride. It was really interesting seeing how passionate you were about the wizard with those sons. And although I've heard of them and I've come across many of them, and and like as I said, I had really good impressions from the English brethren, the widow's sons, and all that kind of stuff. Now it all kind of has been unraveled in this show, and it's just a privilege just to listen. And Stormin Norman, man, he's like a AK-47, machine gun, and he just goes off, and he's just a wealth of knowledge, wisdom, and information. It's just phenomenal.
Well, when I told them that, my local chapter, hey, I need help, that I wanted to do a fundraiser, and I want to do a ride for my fundraiser, which was the Nurses Foundation, they didn't say, "Oh, we don't have time for that." They said, "Okay, what do you need from us? And let's do it." And they helped me organize it. They didn't say how much work is it going to be or what are we going to have to do. They just said, "Okay, let's do it. What do you need from us?" And I mean, I didn't have to twist anybody's arm, and that's, to me, that means a lot. I mean, if I had went to my lodge, I mean, God bless them, they would have helped me. But the first thing I would have was a bunch of eye rolling. I mean, I'm just being honest. I love the brothers, but I mean, oh boy, when do we have to do it? A Saturday? Oh, we got and I mean, it just means a lot to have people you can count on all the time. And it didn't hurt that we was doing it on motorcycles too. So I mean, I did have a carrot.
Well, that's part of that's a big part of the a tradition that's very Americana, and that has been exported around the rest of the world. And it seems from the outside that fellowship and that brotherhood is taken to the next level, and it builds the next level type of camaraderie and bonds. And I just find that very interesting. And so I'm someone who is very all for what the widow's sons do. It's amazing. I was very impressed that the English Freemasons in the Royal Arch, they came all suited up in their suits. And then when they do their biker stuff, they're in their amazing biker gear, and they go around. And the fact that Stormin Norman is going to Scotland to do a ceremony, which is called a branding. Now, just to clear everyone, because when people think of branding, they think of some sort of hot pick.
They're not branding you.
They're not branding. There's no.
Yeah, they're not making you a cow or
no.
anything.
There's no branding. There's no hot stick. It's just the name of the ceremony, basically.
Yeah.
Like if I had a ceremony called Fire and Ash, it might have nothing to do with actual fire and ash exploding everywhere. It just might be emblematical of the word fire and ash, and it could be some boring 3-page ritual about enlightenment and light or whatever. But and so it's really exciting that Stormin Norman is going around the world spreading the light on his motorcycle, and he does so much, and he is so infectious, and it does bring to heart how incredible Freemasonry is, and what a fantastic appending body it is for not only motorcycle enthusiasts, but Masons who are also motorcycle enthusiasts, but also take their oaths and are able to, um, you know, do more with the oaths and obligations that they take, and with a bunch of guys who are as enthusiastic, as motivated in doing some incredible stuff, which is mind blowing.
What you got to always remember is you're a Mason first, and every widow's sons will tell you you're a Mason first. So when you take an oath as a Mason, you all know, and it's no secret, that we'll never cause harm to another Mason. So that just goes there that we'll never break an oath. So you know that we can't be hurting anybody. So we sure as heck can't be branding anybody. So don't ever
Well,
think that. I don't. Yeah.
I just really like the fact that, you know, the high energy that there is within the
Mm-hmm.
widow's sons, that it seems from the outside. It's phenomenal, and it just warms my heart. And now, after listening to Storm and Norman, I would love to support from the outside the widow's sons as much as I can, and get to know them more, and bond with those
Sure.
brothers. And one day, if I ever pick up a motorcycle, if that day comes, then there's an
Mm-hmm.
option for me to join
Sure.
part of the pending body where I can also enjoy that part as well. So I just guys, this interview is really awesome. It's really infectious. He goes for a lot. I managed to squeeze in a question and a clarification because he's got so
Well, you'll
much.
notice Sam was really held at bay with this because there wasn't much opportunity for anybody to talk. God bless him.
No, but
God
it was
bless him. At
incredible.
least we.
But the thing is, when you got someone like Stormin Norman on, and he's just going on, and he just doesn't stop, non-stop, and he's full of this passion and this
Yeah.
energy
Oh.
and this love of Freemasonry and of the widow's sons. It's just like, just let him. I was listening intently, and then I had a question, but I was just waiting for him to stop. And this man is a machine. He is a machine. But
He's passionate.
but
He is
but the other
passionate.
thing
Yeah.
is that the biggest takeaway I got is that you're a master mason first,
Mm-hmm.
and the most important thing is your lodge, which is your craft lodge or your blue lodge.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can all focus on our lodges and get it ritual proficient and get those fellowship bonds going, that assists with the ritual proficiency as well, and enjoying the process, enjoying the ritual, giving good ritual for the next candidate, enjoying the fraternity for it, is having those festive boards, going that extra mile, and doing things to increase that retention, and having a lot of fun, and doing a lot of good work for your local community through charity work and other things. It's all worth it. And it's nice to have like a pending body that seem to me like the protectors or the guardianship of all that fun emblematical stuff. And
Yeah.
it's an absolute privilege to have someone like himself who seems to me extremely prolific around the world in Freemasonry, in his capacity as a widow's son, in unifying the brethren, and enjoy making sure that we have that peace, hope, and plenty. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
very, very impressed with the interview. And
Well, he's so impressed with, so impassionate about people being, you know, involved in the Blue Lodge. They made sure they opened their own Blue Lodge. Well, I mean, it's affiliated through the Grand Lodge of Illinois, of course, but they got their own Blue Lodge open now, and it's
so
got a
when he
hundred
said he
some
opened his
members. So
own
I
blue
mean,
lodge, so just to clarify, because I wasn't able to get the question in,
well,
that's another great question. Is
yeah,
there now an actual craft lodge, a blue lodge that is
yes,
widow's
they opened it.
sons?
Remember, they said I opened it in Antioch, and it was too little, so they had to move to another. It was chartered in 2000 December 2003. It's
23,
now,
2023.
yeah,
So my point is that
2319, number 2319 is his number.
So basically, it's a Blue Lodge that is basically affiliated with the Widow's Sons.
Well, that's its name, Widow's Sons Lodge number 2319.
Okay, so its name is Widow's Sons. It's basically a Blue Lodge, and basically, not only have they got loads of members, not only around the world joining, and just members in that particular area.
But you don't have to be a Blue Lodge. You don't have to be a Widow's Sons member to join. It's just the name of its lodge is Blue Lodge.
Wow! So basically, it's a Masonic lodge called the Widow's Sons.
Yeah, you can join it. You could join it if you wanted to.
That's freaking nice. That's amazing. And so basically, it's a lodge that basically does what other lodges do. It recruits good men to become better men, and focuses on basically the craft lodges and the work.
They were just passionate enough. They opened another lodge.
That's insane.
And they got enough members together to open it.
That's absolutely fantastic. And that's what it's about. I mean, that's growth right there, right? And that's what
so many lodges is closing, and they got one to open. So I mean, that's freaking awesome, if you ask me.
Mate, that's epic. And that listening to interviews like this, Billy, and just listening to a brother like Stormin Norman, which is his nickname, the brother Stormin Norman, worshipful brother Stormin Norman, if I'm saying it correctly.
Well, you talk about it all the time about we're rebuilding the
Second Temple
of Solomon. Well, there's your proof right there. We are rebuilding.
We are
absolutely. People like him, and not just him, but others like him. But they're passionate enough that they're making it happen.
Oh, you know what? It just brings warmth to my heart. It lifts up my day, and it shows me that there is hope in this world for further light, and it pushes us to the next level in recruiting good men and making them better. And guys, just listening to this most epic, and I can't wait to have him back. He's an absolute joy to have and just to listen to. And if we didn't ask loads of pertinent questions, we will do next time. My apologies. I think what we got to do is have a list of questions and just shoot it out to him and give him a cheat sheet so he just goes through it himself, and we just press the record button, and then boom, he can just tell it, dude, it's awesome. It's awesome. I love it. Well, he does all the work and he gets the message out, and he's a great communicator, and he's just an absolute downright decent
but
bloke.
What? I'm not. He didn't do anything wrong. He just got done talking to the board of Grand Masters on his own. He did. He don't need us. Shoot, he just talked to the whole United States Grand Masters. So we weren't really needed anyway. So he did a pretty good job.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's good for the public to listen to him in this episode, and for the public to have access to him, to hear what he's got to say, and to hear his enthusiasm and his infectious behavior of masonry, and he carries himself really well. And I hope this interview gets those who are also biker enthusiasts into the fraternity, and there is a place and home for you if you are a biker enthusiast and you want to enjoy this fantastic fraternity, which is Freemasonry, and you get to meet all these fantastic wonderful brothers like worshipful brother Stormin Norman, and let's have him back on. Any last words?
Oh, none for me. I'm just thrilled. I'm thrilled. Welcome again to On the Level with Billy and Sam. So tonight we have the pleasure to dive into a very interesting conversation with a brother that, if you're a widow's son, that needs no introduction at all. We have the past president of the Illinois Grand Widow's Sons of the Chapter of Illinois, and a charter member, and the first master of the Widow's Sons Lodge number 2319, and you would charter member, right? And the first master.
Yes, I am. I'm a chartering master. Yes, I am.
Yeah,
thank you.
Of the Masonic Lodge that was chartered on December 21st of 2023, and that's in Antioch, Illinois. Is that correct?
Yeah, we started in Antioch. Yeah, we're in Waukon. We had to go to a bigger building.
That's
So we started December 2023. We finally got we got issued our charter at Grand Communications in October, because you got a year of dispensation stuff, and then unfortunately we got through everything fine. But they only issue your charter at Grand Lodge session, so we had to wait for like so many months for it to come back to. But it was great. Thank you. Yeah,
That's awesome.
So we're in Wakanda, Illinois. We share a lodge with Wakanda Lodge number 298, and things are going great. I mean, we got brothers that join from all over the world, and you guys are. I'm sorry, I don't mean to jump around.
No, please.
So as you saw at the Grand Gathering, we were told by, which we knew it, is that meeting that we had, that we converted that big building into, we got dispensation to make it a lodge for the day. That was attended by more. There's a couple of hundred of us there, right? Almost between 200 and 300, right? In the room, and which is pretty wild. That in the history of Illinois Masonry, that's what we were told. It was verified by people that we asked, that that meeting consisted or was attended by more brothers from more different places around the world and country than any other meeting in one room.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You were there. It just took an hour or two to get through the room.
It was incredible.
Yeah, it was definitely, it was a great moment. There was a lot to take in, and the brothers love it. They still talk about it. And I was just honored to have to be the master for that meeting, and just put another thing in the old memory box,
So tell me, was that your idea to come up with that and start a Widow Sons Lodge?
Well, yeah. So we always said it should be, we should have Widow Son Lodge. So a couple popped up with the name Widow Sons, as you know. So we have one in Vermont. The one in New York is a traveling lodge. They meet once every couple of months. Yeah, they travel around the state. And then you have California has one. 1, 2, 3. There's one, I believe, in England. I'm trying to think of the other one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one opening up in Florida very soon. I saw that confirmation over the weekend. We were at the Grand Masters Convention here in Chicago. So the idea was, a couple of us talked about it, and I just figured, not that it was me personally, but I told the guys, hey man, let's open up a traveling lodge like in New York. So it would travel around the state, different place. It makes it easier on everybody, And unfortunately, Illinois is one of the few states that does not allow any kind of traveling lodge. So I was like, okie dokie. So then I went, you mentioned Antioch, Secoit Lodge. They're hurting the membership, and it's a very, very small room building. It's been there since the 1800s. It's second floor of a building downtown, a little downtown here in Antioch. And what happened was we got so big so quick, we couldn't fit the membership.
Right.
Guys were coming, because we were all the way up here in the north. We're literally a quarter of a mile, not even. You could, over the tracks, you look down my street, is other side of the tracks is Wisconsin. That's how far north we are. So when brothers would travel an hour and a half, 2 hours to come, and then we all couldn't fit in the room, that became a problem. So we had to switch, and it's worked out wonderful. It's phenomenal, and the brothers come from all over. We still got brothers joining all the time from all over the world. So we kind of drive Grand Lodge a little crazy with those plural membership applications, but they get it. So
how many members do you think you're up to now?
Oh, we're over 100 members, I think, 100 something, and a lot of paperwork kind of got screwed up somehow along the line, because it was just too fast at the time.
Yeah.
So some brothers, I never heard anything, and then the issue we have is other Grand Lodges in other parts of the world. These guys reach out, especially from Argentina and stuff. Hey man, what's going on? I put my application in. We can't take anybody in until everything's cleared to their Grand Lodge, and some of these Grand Lodges, I'm going to be honest with you, they're not big on it, but so unfortunately, kind of holds those guys back a little bit. But again, it's a small potatoes compared to the big story.
Sure.
So, but things are wonderful. Thank you. We put a shirt out. I don't know if you saw the shirts there for sale.
Yeah.
Because it's our 250th anniversary of our country.
Right.
So we put an original flag up there with 13 stars in a circle, and we put 2319 in the circle. and which is the truth. But it's 13 stars, 13 colonies. But we tell everybody, which we feel is when we know it's the truth, is those 13 stars represent those 13 Masons that signed on Declaration of Independence.
Yeah.
So
that's
what I mean.
Really
So it's
cool
got.
too. Yeah.
So when I started saying that, I was saying at the Grand Masters, and I was giving them shirts as gifts this past weekend, and they were like, well, "That's a great idea." I was like, some good things come sometimes, and so yeah, still going crazy for it. So it's a positive thing. I mean,
Sure.
As far as Masonry, let's be honest. If you guys don't mind me keep rolling here.
No, please.
Billy, you know how I talk. Come on.
Yeah, that's good.
So, what issue do we have in Masonry, right? These days, and I gave the same part of my speech. We gave a nice big presentation at the the Grand Masters Convention, as you guys knew, 5 days just in Chicago, just wrapped up today. So we had a big table, 2 tables set up there. We had brothers come in, widow sons from around the country to help out and around the world, which was awesome. And we spoke to every Grandmaster. They're from all over the place. Matter of fact, through these communications, we were able to open up a couple more countries, believe it or not, in the process to set it all up for Europe. But anyway, part of our speech was legitimately what we feel as far as widow sons, how we help, So I explained to them, what is the big problem that we have in a fraternity right now? It's a very simple thing. It's about attendance, right? In lodges right now, especially some small place towns that hurt, right? Yeah. Even in the big city. So I explained to them, and they're glad I said it too, because that's what they wanted to say, but they couldn't watch how they say it. But so I say, what's the big problem we have? Say you have 100 guys that join the lodge. If we're lucky to have 10 guys at a meeting, or 20, and a couple of Grandmasters even said in my presentation, they go, if we're lucky. And I said, you're correct, most worshipful. I said, so, and what is the issue? So one of the main issues is, number one, we have young people coming in and they look on the internet, they see what they see in Masonic, all the stuff about being a Freemason there. But some of it's true, some of it's not, as we know. But they see it and they're excited to join it. And then they join, and unfortunately, in some cases, they're sitting in a lodge. It's not all the hoopla that they thought it was going to be, number one. Number two, they end up seeing 2 guys argue over a $20 difference in a bill in a lodge. And you guys have all seen that, right?
Yep.
Or they argue about why has it got green beans? We don't have, the silly old jokes that we say, right?
Yeah.
But it's the truth. And then they lose interest really quick.
Yep.
And rightly so. The other main issue that is with coming through with our fraternity right now is we have people joining, and we all belong to several. Billy, I know you're all over the place too. All of us, we belong to so many different extensions of the fraternity, right? All different parts of it.
Yep.
So the problem that we have is guys will join. They'll join the shrine, right?
Yep.
York, Rice, Scott, anything, and we never see them again in Blue Lodge. That's a major problem.
That's right.
And that's everywhere. So you say you got 100 guys on your membership list of your lodge. You got 10, 20 guys maybe showing up. There's guys you never see again after the 3rd degree because they spend all their time at the other Masonic bodies. That's an issue. That's a major issue. I feel it's an issue.
I agree.
And, everyone agreed. So what is hold on a second. I might want to on a podcast. Hold on. Oh, wait. Sorry, guys. My wife's in North Carolina on a podcast. So I'll go, not another one. Okay. So, sorry, brothers. So, thank you for understanding. So we explain that to everybody too, and literally, you don't ever see them again, and it's wrong. So our blue lodges are suffering. So I explained to them, not myself and all the guys in the room. A lot of us did the talking, which is great. I picked the short straw, obviously, every time and get stuck up at the podium. But anyway, explain to them, here's the difference of being a widow son. Hope you guys don't mind me talk about widow sons, I hope. But
that's what we have you.
Okay, so the difference in our fabric of an organization, what we have built in from the beginning. Remember, the original Constitution and the bylaws came here out of Illinois in the beginning in 1998, which tomorrow is our 28th anniversary, actually.
Yep.
It's built into. We are saying as widow sons that we're Masons first. So it formed all these hundreds of Grandmasters of our structure. It is built in you have to go to Blue Lodge, regardless of how many different Masonic bodies you belong to. Widow Sons are not. It is built into our fabric. So, and you guys see the main bylaws, right? I mean, we can't. Yep. Each chapter cannot remove anything from a state bylaw, but they can add on to the area they live in. What justifies their area. There's different things here and there. And they were like, really? I said, yes, that is the difference. We're Masons first, and to be a Widow Son, you must attend X amount of meetings, Masonic Lodge meetings. And they were like, wow, we didn't know that. I said, exactly. Now you guys do know. And of course, some of the questions came up. Well, how do you guys police that and make sure they do? And I said, well, first of all, they're Masons. They're not supposed to be live. But as you guys are not Widow Sons, Widow Son chapters are very, very tight. We police our own. And we can check. A lot of us are in the same lodges. We can always just go look. Plus, who's sitting in the lodge with you and who's not. How many times, right? So, and they were like, good enough. They said, thank you. And that changed the whole narrative, in the room as well at the time. So now it opened up a lot of places that didn't know. There was some Grandmaster that have Widow Sons in their area. And it's still the whole biker thing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Which is getting better. This organization has took a major change the past 5 years, I'll say, definitely within the 10 years. So we went from so many countries and whatever to nearly 100 countries now, which is a tremendous leap. And why? Because the fraternity's understanding our value. You know what I mean? We like we said, we wear the symbols on our back, and people know who we are. And we promote Freemasonry through motorcycling. And I said to the Grandmaster, I said, I don't want to sound corny here, but I says, I'm going to tell you guys like it is. We make Masonry cool again. And they all started laughing. And I said, I think about it. And they all went, you're right. I said, so a young guy, not even young, anybody sees us, they come up. It's a little easier for them to come up and ask questions about Masonry to us, to you, me, right? Us guys, wearing our vest, right? Because they're out there at an event, instead of having to go knock on the door and that process. So we help out. We also explain to them that we are there. Anybody we bring into the fraternity as a Widow Son, we are there to all their degrees. We are there to help them, to mentor them, and do what we have to do. That is part of our obligation as well as a Widow Son. So
well, who would have thought we would have been watching the door of the Grand Lodge 10 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
Nobody would have thought that.
Yeah.
I mean, we have come a long ways.
Yeah. I mean, through leaps and bounds. And listen, and again, we were supposed to have a 1 hour presentation. It turned into 2 hours. So we were very fortunate. And we went over everything, especially I explained how social media and how the internet. Mm-hmm. So I basically said it's supposed to make people in the world smarter. I said we think it made them a lot stupider, and everybody started laughing in the room, obviously, and shaking their heads. And that's the other thing we have to do, because people aren't joining anything, not just our fraternity, nothing. Look, at churches were hurting, right?
Right.
God rest, Charlie Kirk and everything like that. But you got a little resurrection there because of a tragedy, at one point, and the kid was working really hard. But the reason why people have gotten so lazy and so dependent on technology, meaning the telephone, right? You do everything with it, right? So it's almost to the point that they won't join anything unless they can join it through their phone.
Right.
That's what the world's coming to. I mean, It's not just, if you talk to any organization, you talk to the Moose are hurting right now.
Oh, yeah.
You got the Elks, you got everything. So it's right across the board, because people just aren't doing that no more, which is a shame, because look at us as Masons, right? We're supposed to be taking over the world one pancake breakfast at a time.
Yeah.
It's slowed down, you know what I mean? All kidding aside,
You're correct.
But the fraternity, you have to have faith in it. And just like anything else in the world, the fraternity, which it is, it has to change with the times.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Or we'll be left in the dust. You know what I mean? But more importantly, I keep saying more importantly, because everything to me is important. I'm sorry. Yeah. Is the fact of you have to make it, I'm going to use these words, you got to make it fun or enjoyable. Obviously, with the family aspect, which is the strong aspect of the Widow Sons, is our families are involved heavily. Okay. And if it wasn't for our ladies, our wives, and the kids, you know what I mean, we wouldn't have the successful events that we have and stuff like that, obviously. But that's how it was in Masonry for years and years and years, right? Every town knew. They still do, don't get me wrong. But, such time of year or whatever, the lodge is having this, and the places would be packed. picnic. They have 3 or 4 or 5 events a year. Do we see that now? Let's be honest. We do not.
Well, it used to
and
be
it's no fault by anybody's point. Point is, number one, you could get the guys to help is one thing. But number two, are people going to come out? So it's always going to be a struggle, unfortunately. But I think we have the upper hand on it, or getting the upper hand on it as Widow Sons. It's a great organization, obviously, and but yeah. So it went from them looking at us as thinking we're some kind of stupid TV show, a bunch of bikers, and you hear the same thing. They always mention the big clubs. Oh, you guys are it's like, no, we're not. We're a Masonic Riding Association. And we finally embedded into their heads this last weekend too. We said, how we describe ourselves to people. And they go, yes. We say, we are an extension to our fraternity. And nobody can deny it. We were received so well, according to our Most Westbrook Grand Master Joe Farrell, who is the best. We're so fortunate every year to have such great Most Westbrook Masters in our state. I tell you right now, they're just one better than. I mean, they're the greatest. But anyway, he was very helpful and allowing to invite us to get us to come do a presentation and set up and brother and our almost Westbrook Grand Senior Warden as well, working hard, and then everybody else involved. It's phenomenal. And so basically our presentation was the first ever in history that the Widow Sons gave a presentation at a world conference, not just at our state or local, state communications. So according to our Most Worshipful, he said, you guys will hit a parade. And I was like, cool. So we had great help from brothers. Brothers from Massachusetts come in, Florida, South Dakota, Wisconsin. I mean, multiple states. And of course, Illinois, we had our big contingency. And there was always a dozen of us walking around talking right near our tables and stuff, and we were handing out coins, pins, we had food, drinks, and they were smart. They put us all the way on the end. So we had the most area to hang out in. So our table, the whole joke was it looked like a bar, you know what I mean? Everybody go hang out by the Widow Sons, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was kind of cool, and we were so happy with it all. I mean, we walked out of there like roosters in the hen house, and we did a good job and it was well done. And I can't thank the brothers all working together as a team the way we do. And remember, it's not just one person, you know what I mean? It never will be,
Right.
They asked a lot of questions about the Widow Sons as far as our structure, and we explained to them that states and the countries, they run independently, but we all based off the same thing. An original out of Chicago here, from where the Constitution, the first one's written, and the bylaws and what have you. And they said, well, shouldn't you guys have a more structure government type thing set up? And we're like, we understand that, but we don't do that. We believe in the round table aspect of all men are created equal. All of us are created equal. I said, there's no head, there's no tail to the table, and they got that, but we did say, we explained, they asked, obviously people asked about the corporation and about us protecting our rights of what we have. So we explained to us that even though people call us a board, we're not really a board. We have some of us are considered trustees, but that's the corporation we've had here for years.
Yeah.
And we chose, instead of putting, because just like any corporation, any state, anywhere, they ask for a president and vice president, all that kind of stuff. So on that paperwork is one thing, but we said we have to just be the protectors. So we just use the word trustee because we're entrusted in protecting. So there's 8 of us from around the country, half of it obviously Illinois, because it's our area here. Mm-hmm. And instead of putting the copyright stuff like that in one person's name like it was previously, we put it directly to the corporation, to which now that's how it's filed and sits in the Library of Congress in the United States as we speak. So it was to show unity and show everything is together. Now, is everything always perfect? Obviously not, It's like I said, you guys know, dealing with the Widow Sons and being a president of a chapter or state or like in our positions, trustees helping everybody out. It's similar to being a master of a lodge. I says you're a kindergarten teacher wrapped up with a a marriage counselor wrapped up with a with a loan officer kind of thing. It's always something.
There's always
But
there's always a bunch of it's like a bunch of little kids. You're right, but it's a lot of fun, and
exactly correct. You know what I mean?
it,
And
you'll never find bigger-hearted people in all your life, and
yeah.
that's why I wanted you to come on here, because a lot of people is asking me questions, and I knew you could come on and give a better answer than me. I know in our local chapter, and I know, and you're what I always get all those guys up there in the north. What is your local chapter?
My local chapter, we're the most northern chapter up north. We're Cornerstone's chapter. Up,
Cornerstones, right?
yes,
And
yes,
my
yeah.
local
I think
chapter is Sovereign Knights. And I know
yes,
for our local charity, we split ours all over. We give to the Nurses Foundation, we give to Honor Flight, we
yeah.
give money left and right. We do a lot of charity, but we give it a little bit all over the place. And I know, what is your? Can I be so nosy?
No. We're the same. We're the same thing. We obviously raise a lot of money. We're a big chapter, number one, and it goes per capita where people live,
Yeah,
obviously, right? We're in a beautiful area up in the chain of lakes. Everybody and their mother's got a motorcycle on top of it.
yeah.
And so we have a little more to pull from, okay?
Hmm.
Even it's how many lodges and the men. So our main charity obviously is widows and orphans, right? We'll always
Yeah.
find a widow. We'll take care of her and the kids until she remarries, which is exactly how it happens for us each time.
Hmm.
We take care of her for years. We have several scholarship funds every year from
Yeah.
our chapter, but we're big with the Veterans Closet. We have a container, because the clubhouse is here on my property in the back.
Yeah.
So we also have a shipping container loaded. We're self-contained. We have so much stuff, but we also collect. We have wheelchairs, walkers, crutches. People donate to us, and we'll go pick them up, and then we help other people that need them as well. You know what I mean? It's always a constant thing. When everyone from Grand Lodge calls up and says, "Hey, man, we got somebody who really is a help, a widow or this and that, they can use a walker. We got it. Don't worry about it." And we
Yeah.
take care of it. But another thing that we do, let me explain how the Widow Sons also helps lodges that with the ways that they cannot, I'm going to say it bluntly, can't help themselves by no fault of their own. So unfortunately, some Grand Lodges, and we know it's trying to change here in our state. You guys saw it the past couple of years. This idea of not being able to raise money the way we should for our lodges is insane. Okay, there's too much legal baloney, too much paperwork.
Yep.
I mean, and it breaks my heart when I go to thing and I listen. And I go, what is the problem? And then the other problem is, because of that issue, our lodges, they're going under. You know what I mean? They can't pay the bills. And then when they tell them to, hey, you got to raise the dues, and a lot of them don't want to, because we know that. So what is the issue here? So where does the Widow Sons come in? We're independent, just like you guys in your chapter. We're independent corporations. Like when I came as state president, remember I told everybody, get your corporation, become 501c3s, be self-contained. Number one, it protects you legally. Number two, no organization is above the law of the land. Okay, meaning no matter whatever happens, God forbid, Widow Sons, we have the corporations. Nobody can touch it. You understand? We can always do good, and no one has a say where our money goes and what have you. So that being said, because of our lodges, their hands being tied, and now what they're allowed to do, what, Billy, if I'm not mistaken, what is it, one raffle a year now still?
Yeah.
And it can't exceed 30% of the amount of money. It's a ridiculous formula. Here we are supposed to be one of the largest charity organizations in the world, and our hands are tied. So where do the Widow Sons come in? So especially up here, you asked how many charities we help. We exponentially help every single lodge up here that asks us. We have very big gun raffles. Thank God for gun lovers people,
Yeah.
We have several a year. They're very, very big, and we do very, very well with it. But we started doing a thing to approach lodges and other charities that we protect. Say, listen, if you sell the raffle tickets that you sell for our raffle that we already bought the guns, right? There's no risk to you whatsoever. You sell these tickets, all the amount of tickets that you sell, we'll split 50-50 with you. That's a phenomenal deal. Who would not take it, right? You have zero risk, nothing to worry about. The risk is all taken by us. It's already been done. So since we've done that, wow, we help dozens and dozens and dozens of charities at the same time. So every time we give half, that's to a charity. So, it's exponentially growing. So we don't say no to anybody. As we all know, you have to be careful. Yeah. Unfortunately, as far as, giving money to people that need it. So you got to be careful with the cash. You guys know the whole game. It's no secret by anybody. But yeah, so we're still with the code of the orphan. Orphans and widows and orphans rather, and endless amount of charity, man. And even within ourselves, charity starts at home. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we went through hell with COVID, and remember during COVID, Grand Lodges pretty much had to shut down. Oh yeah. As far as meetings, right? The whole world shut down. But who didn't shut down? The widow's sons. Right. We didn't stop. If anything, we used more because our hands weren't tied any kind of way. Right. Okay. Yeah. Some guys, we didn't have meetings for a little bit. Like my chapter, we're like, okay, listen, we're grown ass men. You know what I mean? Set aside the beliefs of the shots and stuff. Who believed in them? Who didn't? That's all the politics to it. It's all bullcrap. But we didn't stop. I was down in Mexico City with the brother. I go down. I try to go down all the time, and they spent, I don't know how many days, several months, every day packaging food at their clubhouse. And the line was around the block, people coming to grab meals every day. I was there helping them out when I was down there one time. And so I also said that too in the presentation, that when the world shut down, the widow's sons did not. And we continue to do all the good works. And because Mother Nature doesn't stop. You know what I mean? Storms come, look at Rooster going there, taking care of after the storms. And rolling up with the ambulance and all the supplies to help the first responders and stuff. That never stopped. It never stopped for all of us, you guys, any of us, doing what we had to do. So that's the beautiful part of us being a separate organization, but an extension to the fraternity. Right. People say, "How you guys give a lot to charity?" Here's the answer: we give them. How much do we give? We give till it hurts. How's that for an answer? You know what I mean? And no brother gets left behind, no family gets left behind. Like I said, and again, some chapters, just like lodges, some have more money than others. It's just the way it is. You know what I mean? Yep. Like they used to tease us guys up in the north. You guys have all the money. We don't got all the money. We just happen to live in a more populated area. You know what I mean? It's basic math. I mean, it has nothing to do with personalities or who's what or who's this. So, but I mean, it's a proud moment to be a widow's son. Our recognition is now through the roof, through the world, through the fraternity, and it's never no one person. It's everybody working together. The other thing we've done, I know you guys noticed last year, is when it comes to widow's sons, is we can't let. I gotta watch how I say this, and then when I explain it, it makes more sense. We don't let Grand Lodge politics get in our way. And what I mean by that is not our local. First of all, everyone that says, well, our Grand Lodge has nothing, baloney. The second that you're a Mason, we fall under the Grand Lodge authority, period, as a Mason. And everyone's a Mason that's in the thing. So that's a no-brainer. But when we have now in the world, and when they're working on fixing it, the conference was a good case of that. There was unrecognized Grand Lodges there, that they were invited there, and they're working on getting everybody together, which I think is amazing. And I know my past Grand Master from New York, actually, Sardone, he was actually picked by all the Grand Masters to go around the world and try to put everybody together. So that's a lot that we have to do with it. But we had 7 countries in Europe that they were widow's sons still, because I know you guys remember a couple of years ago, we had an individual that was here from the beginning who thought he owned everything and all this baloney and blah, blah, blah. And he made money off it, which you're not supposed to make money off anybody. And he had given them charters because they weren't chartered areas because their Grand Lodge wasn't recognized by the UGLE or by United States lodges, right? So we all understand that that's how it rolled. But after a while, I'm watching, and I grabbed a couple brothers. I said, let's pay attention to a situation going around the world. 1 minute, this Grand Lodge does not recognize that Grand Lodge. They have a falling out. It happens. It's happening. I can mention a couple places right now, but where it's happening as we speak. They have a falling out. Well, Now we don't recognize you, and I don't recognize you. Okay, fine. We have widow sons there. So what happens to the widow sons? So they have to abide by their Grand Lodge and no longer communicate with other widow sons, you understand, in that other area? No, because we're going to go through all that baloney and all that stuff. And then what happens a year later? They kiss and make up.
Yeah.
Okay? So we're not going to be collateral damage. So we explain that, and maybe we're the ones that can help get the Grand Lodges to get together. So the 7 countries, they were that, and they thought they couldn't be in. So a situation happened in Mexico last year. I know you saw it on Facebook.
Yeah.
That the Grand Lodge of Mexico City, the Grand Lodge of Guadalajara is the original Grand Lodge of Mexico. They had a falling out with that Grand Lodge, and they're no longer recognized them. So what happens? I got half the guys in Mexico calling saying, hey, those guys are not in the real Grand Lodge anymore. They can't be recognized. And the guys that we're talking about were the original guys that started it to boot. And this is blah, blah, blah. And I was talking to the guys, and I said, we got to stop. This ends now. I said, I said, we all got to work together, and this can't happen. So they put this big thing out. And now, if you remember, we put that letter out stating, we're not going to let Grand Lodge politics interfere or dictate who can and cannot be a widow's son. And that strong message went across everywhere. So with that, which opened up there was an international meeting in Bulgaria last year. We went out to, so we prepped it all up. Those 7 countries that no more obviously stopped listening to that guy a long time ago because he was ripping them off. We reached out to them, and rightly so. They were very not standoffish. They were nervous. You know what I mean? Because it's the U.S., it's the guys in Chicago. But it wasn't. It was working together with the guys in Bulgaria. We all worked together as a unit. But saying, hey, listen, this is what we think would be best to come into the realm with us. Because we respect everything you do. I mean, these guys are knocking out of the park as widow sons, but they're just not recognized. And of course, as you can see in France and Belgium and part of Switzerland, there are women Masons. That's a big issue. But in the defense of our brothers, they don't like it neither in their own sense. But it's like a federal law there. At any organization, any job, any organization has to allow men and women in it. If you do not, you literally can get arrested and fined all that kind of money. So that kind of screwed them up. So if there are a couple of ladies that are widow sons in France, yes. Is there 2 in Belgium? Yes. I think there's none. I don't think there's none in Switzerland. There used to be, but it's a very small handful. And yes, it bothers everybody, but we have to change with the times. Not saying open up to women. So we negotiated the talks. Say, hey, man, and they want to be part of us. There are some people, the women there, a couple of them. I'll be honest with you, they were like, well, whatever. I'm a Mason. I said, nobody said you weren't, but you have to understand, if you were to come here, you can't come to my meetings. You know what I mean? Yeah. They experienced that in in England in 2024. Went out for the anniversary, their 20th anniversary. They tried to walk into the big tent where there was a Masonic meeting going on, a large meeting, and they got stopped, and they made a little stink. And that didn't go over very well. You know what I mean? So, but we can work everything out. So now everybody's together. They got recharted, but out of respect to their history, the recharter was just given with the same date, and everybody's happy. So things are working out great in Europe. Things are popping up everywhere. I'll give you a quick wild story. So our brothers in Bulgaria, when the war in the Ukraine got kicking, they put 2 big box trucks together with supplies, and they got over the border and made it to Odessa, right, to help Brother Masons, their families and everything, right? Amazing. Just think about the whole thing. Our brothers driving, looking over the freaking what's going to fly over your head any second, you know what I mean? But they did it. They got it done. That went over big over there, obviously. So there is Masons and Grand Lodge in Ukraine. So a couple weeks ago, I'm on the phone with the guys all the time on a video call. They got a call from the Ukraine, from the Deputy Grand Master of the Ukraine Grand Lodge. I'm like, cool. He said, I told you I want widow sons. We're ready to start putting it together, this and that. And we're like, okay. And our brother Danny and them guys in Bulgaria, they speak the same language, and I'm listening. And you hear noise, right? You hear like, what the hell's going on? So I finally said, can you ask him where he is right now? And he said, oh, I'm in the trenches. The man is in the trenches. They're at war.
Wow.
And on his mind is, I want a widow sons chapter in the Ukraine.
No.
Is that wild or what? I told that
wild.
story to the Grand Masters, And there was the Grand Master was there, one of the Grand officers from Bulgaria, and he's telling me, yeah, he's not lying. So I just goes to show you how wild things are. And the idea is to have unity, obviously. There's always going to be someone thinks they're a king or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
We've been accused of that. Meanwhile, we never. We tell everybody, show me one thing we ever told anybody what to do. Doesn't exist. There's things in other states you've seen going on right now. It's ridiculous, and everybody has to work together. We used to use the word autonomy, and then people think so. We just use the word as far as individuality because of the corporations and stuff. But for the most part, we're kicking ass and taking names, and everybody's having a good time with it, and I apologize being so burnt out from the weekend.
Oh, no. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here.
No. And it's a wonderful thing.
I know you really, I know you work your butt off. And are you considered are you a liaison for the other countries, or what are you considered?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. So, so our Grand Lodge, they grabbed me. We at the Scottish Rite for brother Pat Clemens. I don't know if you remember. He was a Grand Lecturer. Yeah. He was one of my mentors when I moved here. When I switched from New York, Masonry here.
Yeah,
he was wonderful, man. He came out of retirement because he's been sick. And he passed away early in January. 92 years old. God rest his soul. He was a Mason over 60 years. Yeah. So we had the celebration of life at our Scottish Rite, the Valley of Chicago.
Yeah.
And a lot of officers were there and stuff like that, and the Grand Lodge officers. So then the Grand said, Joe, we got to talk to you. I said, okay, what's going on? And I do a lot, we all do for each other. And and what happens is these past few months, the Grand Masters in the nation, they get on like a Zoom call, or whether it's in sections or certain areas or all of them together. The way it was explained to me, and they've been talking a lot. And the Widow Sons obviously is a subject that comes up quite a bit.
Right.
And now it comes up in a positive way. Yeah. Even an issue that a Grand Lodge may have with the Widow Sons in the state, that even comes up. So our Grand Lodge knows what's going on. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Better than some of the members. So fast forward, so they're talking, and of course they have different stories or different understandings of what the Widow Sons are about, right?
Right.
Because a lot of times not clarified. A lot of guys stay away from the Grand Lodge. I understand that because they're nervous. We have different situations. So fast forward. So to our Grand Lodge officers, two of them grabbed me and says, hey, we've been talking everything like that. We think it's best to have a liaison for the Widow Sons to directly with our Grand Lodge and to deal directly. We'll deal directly every year with the Grand Senior Warden, which is great. In our case, it happens to be a Widow Son, right, in our state, right, which is wonderful. Angelo, amazing brother.
He is.
Across the board. He's the best of the best. And so I was like, okay. So I was like, well, for the state? And they're like, yeah, for starters kind of thing. So, and I was like, well, I'm all the way up in the north. I got a lot done. So I said, well, for the state of Illinois, to make it easier, I said, how about I have someone else help me? And they're like, yeah, okay. And so I mentioned Rooster. I said, because they know him, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they know everybody, but they know his program, stuff like that. And he's all the way down in Metropolis, and I'm only in Antioch. Can't go no further south, can't go no further north, right? So I figured that. And they got back at the convention. And they said, hey, man, we talk about that thing. He said, okay, we'll do it the way you want to do it. And then with that, all the Grand Masters standing around, and then everyone started talking. So am I the liaison now for the state of Illinois? Yeah, I called Johnny up from there, and Johnny's like, yeah, cool. Everything's cool. So is it going to look like I'll be the liaison probably to help out? It's very possible. We do the work already. And again, this is all volunteer stuff. There is no... Yeah. I mean, there is no boss. There is no president of all Widow Sons. There is none of that kind of stuff. So, and again, and of course, it's a lot easier now for them to do it because after the presentation and seeing us up there talking. So yeah. So again, listen, nothing's perfect. Okay. We have a good time. These guys can get out of hand sometimes a little bit, but no different than any other thing. No, so we got to police our own. We have to ensure these Grand Lodges that if these brothers are Masonic, they got to go.
Yeah.
And the Grand Lodges are also helping us a little more because obviously the idea is to try to not let it get to Grand Lodge, right?
Oh, absolutely.
If the brothers violating his obligation, then we have no choice. But excuse me. But That's not where I was going with this. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That's all right. I've got a couple of questions. So, from my understanding, the Widow Sons was established in 1998. The actual organization, was that just in Illinois?
Yes. No, that's a fact. So it's on February 18th, 1998 was the first meeting. So there was some guys that the brothers at the time were from some of them were in the Grotto Motor Corps, and guys from a few other things just got together on it, and Carl Davenport at the time, he was one of the guys too. So we had recently shared with the emails and stuff the actual minutes and stuff from the very first meeting, which was at the Mirage restaurant, which is right near O'Hare Airport. It's still there. It's connected to the Four Seasons Hotel now. That was their first meeting. So, and it got started. Of course, there was no patches. It was not considered or even dreamed about to be what it is today. Obviously, I mean, who would have thought this would have been so big? But so it started that way, and then with that, they were talking to brothers in the Netherlands and even in the Philippines way back then to get things going. So the way the timeline is on the paperwork that we have is in Illinois and then the Netherlands. Netherlands kind of squeezed out because they couldn't get the guys at one point. The way I read the paperwork, and of course then Connecticut and then Florida, and it goes on and on and on from there where it grew, and so now we're all over the place.
That's amazing.
Yes, and and I tell you what, like I said, it wasn't expected to be wearing the patches and stuff, and then as things progressed, how about patches, and then there's the one patch, as you guys know, the old patch there, and then obviously the wings came out a year or two later, which everything on the wings is everything on the back of that is a Masonic symbol of some sort. So, which is the majority of nearly all Widow Sons around the world, other than a couple of hundred maybe in Florida,
right?
Where the wings.
So a couple of things. Something that I found very powerful and great reinforcement, and I wish other appending bodies had that focus, which I think the Widow Sons does very well, is the reinforcement that you're a Master Mason first, and the fact that there is this focus on members attending what we call in England craft lodges, what we call in America blue lodges. Basically, it's the same thing, and I think having that focus is huge. And that kind of now a lot of things make sense to me when I've seen Widow Sons in the Peoria, Illinois area, and the bondship they have and the focus they have at Blue Lodge. One thing that the impression I had, and it was a very good impression, was actually in England when I was going around the lodges, and there was one actual chapter, Royal Arch chapter, and this chapter was dwindling. It was losing members. They're about to close the chapter, and the Widow Sons group in England got involved, and they wanted to save this chapter. And if it wasn't for the Widow Sons brothers who basically joined this chapter, which is part of Mark Mason's Hall, in America we call them the York Rite, they literally gave it new life. They were dedicated to it. And so they kind of merged the name, and they put Widow Sons in the chapter's name, and it became the Widow Sons chapter with other members. And it was just amazing. And, all of these Widow Sons, these are my English brothers, they're all bikers, but they're all nicely suited up in chapter, and they have a whole history, and they were doing a rededication thing. And it was just amazing to see the amount of enthusiasm of just coming in and saving bits and parts of Masonry, whether it's your Blue Lodge or an appending body. And I wish, and I'm a little bit jealous, because I wish other organizations, appending bodies, where they're sitting down in their meetings, or the officers are saying, what's happening in our Blue Lodges? Where can we help our Blue Lodges? Having a sense of duty to our craft lodges, because that's where it all starts. And to have an organization like the Widow Sons, where one of its primary focuses is, focusing on the Blue Lodges and recruiting good men, that's huge. And it just really warms my heart. And it kind of reminds me of kind of like, New Century, Knights Templars on motorbikes, right? Because there's no longer horses. Going around, helping not only the craft, but also helping the orphans and widows. It's just phenomenal. And It sounds like there's a lot of as I can tell, there's a lot of passion, which is infectious. Listening to you about the Widow's Son, so it started in 1998, and it's grown, and it's now becoming more recognized over the world in different jurisdictions.
Yeah, we're everywhere, and like I said earlier, we're trying to combine the jurisdictions to the best of our ability. Like, we understand this. Obviously, the brothers at certain lodges, if they were to visit here, like I felt so bad. And one brother from France, he couldn't come into the meeting we had, the Grand Gathering. So till the lodge meeting was over, then he came in for the Widow's Sons meeting. You know what I mean? But he was cool with it because he understood it. But you know how hard that is when you got a good brother, and this is a brother that does a lot for the Widow's Sons, and it just breaks your heart that he can't come into the lodge meeting. But that's why we hope someday that all basically works itself out, and maybe the Widow's Sons are the ones to help bridge the gap.
Right, kind of like the glue.
So I know we
like the glue
took a brave
to bring the thing together.
Year. Yeah, it was a brave move last year, but we had no choice. And we'll talk with the guys. I go, we got to stop. I mean, it's not fair, because in our bylaws, it states even from the beginning, it says, what are the requirements to be a Widow's Son? Obviously, have a motorcycle. Back then, it was 500 cc's. Now we go higher. Some places in Europe and South America, it's lower because the bike community is different on the size bikes and what have you. So, to have a motorcycle, you got to be a Master Mason in good standing. That's it. Those are the two qualifications, two main ones. It doesn't say it has to be recognized by the UGLE. It has to recognize. Obviously, if you're Widow's Sons in your state, you're going to go by the Grand Lodge. The United States doesn't have the problem as much, even though there's 1,000,001 Masonic organizations. But the big boys are still always going to be the big boys. I mean, that's how I look at it, and that's how it works. But because we got such great guys. I mean, we had that little situation. It was at the Grand Gathering. I mean, excuse me, at the convention this weekend, because we got some brothers in Greece, and then some other guys went opening with Greece. They're a different Grand Lodge, and then they got a hold of it, and they're like, we got to. So it's putting out that fire at the same time of trying to say, listen, we're trying to work it all together. So later on today, actually, this around noontime today, was a phone call with myself, another brother from here, 2 brothers from Bulgaria, and 2 brothers from Greece.
Oh, wow.
To try to figure out how we can work this for this. Well, our Grand Lodge is going to hate us. And I was like, listen, calm down. Just calm down. Yeah. And I love them. And them Greek guys, they keep going and talking, and, it's kind of funny. And I tell them, I say, calm down, this ain't Sparta. And so I
Could you?
Billy, you know me. I'm a wise man. I am what I am.
Yeah. What's
nothing is safe with me. Nothing
for the
is
people
safe.
that aren't Widow's Sons, Joe's road name Stormin, Norman. So if you caught me a couple of times calling him Stormin, that's why. Anyway, could you, for the people that don't know Rooster, and if you know Rooster, you know Rooster. He's Rooster for a reason. That guy's crazy. I love him. Everybody that knows him loves him. But he is crazy. But could you explain to him what the ambulance is? Because that is the most wonderful thing that man has done.
One of the many that he does. Yeah. So,
but he is crazy, and
he took his own money and he bought that ambulance. Yeah, live it up. Now he is a retired fire chief. He was also a police chief one time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And he's a big-time first responder. He's retired, and now he's in the trucking business, what have you. So they're in Metropolis, right? They're in the area, even where you guys south, right? You guys are basically in Tornado Alley, right? All the storms. So what he would do even before he got the ambulance is that him and his kids, they would load up the trucks, and he'd go to these disasters. Like even that big explosion, I think it was last year. Remember in that one plant? He was there. Matter of fact, we had a picture of it up at the Grand Convention. So, and he would show up, he'd load everything up. And he'd do it out of his own pocket, by the way. Wow. And he'd load up water, food, barbecue, and he'd set up site, and he'd feed all the first responders because he knew that they didn't, by his experience.
That's amazing.
He made that grow. Made that grow. His ambulance was all over the place. To which Grand Lodge, as you know, 2 years ago took recognition of this whole thing.
Yeah.
And they actually made a new category of whether based on him. And so now that's how we said in all corners of the state that we have a first response set up, like my chapter up here has it, and We have a trailer, ready to go if someone needs it. But we're fortunate weather-wise compared to the guys down south. And then that is strung out, obviously, to other places. Like Bulgaria has an ambulance. The guys in France have an ambulance. Mexico, the Philippines, I believe, has one. Their brothers in England, in the UK, they do a lot with the fly for night with the helicopters and stuff.
Yes.
Big time.
Yes.
They're very heavy with that. Matter of fact, I'm excited because I'm going to Scotland for the branding in April. So it's been on my bucket list. And our brother Andy Rankin out there, who started the Widow Sons in Scotland, he contacted me. He says, "That's it." He goes, "You're coming. No more excuses."
Make sure you have some haggis. Make sure you have some haggis. I love haggis.
Yeah, I've had it before, man. And believe it or not, in my bloodstream is 18, almost 20% Scottish in me, so I had no chance. I'm not big on it. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, but so there's there's 7 brothers from here going, and then one of the ladies. And we're going to have a time. I mean, it's April. I mean, they used to do the branding in March. It was real cold, so it'd still be cool, but that's okay. So it's
so
right
when you say branding, what do you mean exactly by branding?
Well, branding is a Widow Son ceremony.
Wow.
That we have with guys. Yeah, and in the UK they only do one a year, and people want to have to go to that to that ceremonial thing to have they have to travel to Scotland.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
And here's what's cool about it. So where the location is the town there is Stirling. That's the hometown area of William Wallace.
It's beautiful.
Wallace, right?
It's beautiful.
So I'm staying there. I can't wait. I'm so pumped up. So I forget the name of the D, a little few kilometers away, is the area where his fort was, right? And they rebuilt it. Okay. There is a brother, he's a Mason, who's very close with our brothers there. He's also an actor. And he's an actor. If you see a Russell Crowe movie, he's in it because they're best friends. So if you see Gladiator, no, seriously. So he took it upon to start a foundation to recreate and build it and maintain it. So they built a fort.
That's cool.
It is badass. Okay. They built it and they continue to make it better and better. And it's also obviously a big tourist spot now and stuff. But the only people that get to use it for a couple of days to themselves, day and night, and camp out there and everything, are the Widow Sons.
Oh my God.
That's really cool.
So they've been doing it for 15 years. This will be the 15th year, I believe Andy told me.
Oh, wow.
And how wild is that?
Mate,
right? Just the whole history of it and the fact. It's the same thing. We have these ceremonies. Talk about the brainstorm. Another good one is here in the States is in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wow.
The brothers do it. They do it on the first battleground and the first battlefield of the battles in Gettysburg. It is wild.
Oh, man.
It is just, back of your hair stands up, and just the fact of it. And it's always some cool places where we have the ceremony, brand ceremony. I've done the first. I've been fortunate to be on a team that doing the first one in several countries. Did the first one in South Africa years ago, and we had to be somewhere secluded, obviously. So
yeah,
the Zulu Nation out there, seriously, the tribe guys is pretty wild. They gave the property and let them use that. So here we are doing it. And it happened to be thunder and lightning too. It's just a wild night.
Oh,
and here we are in the Zulu Nation. It's a thing you see on TV. I'm like, what the hell am I sitting there? So that's just pretty wild alone.
So I've never heard anything good about that. So I'm surprised they let you do that.
Yeah. And here's another wild thing. So our brothers in South Africa, the guys out in the West Coast, the East Coast of the country, Durban. So there we have a good chapter up there, and then they have their own Widow Son rum, and it's made by the tribe, the Zulu Nation tribe. Everybody wants their stuff, but the only other people that can put a different label on the bottle is the Widow Sons.
Wow,
it's pretty wild. Yeah, it's pretty wild, man.
Have you got a bottle? Have you
with tequila?
Have you got a bottle of the rum? Have you got a bottle yourself of the rum?
Yeah. I got one unopened, and I have one downstairs on my 3rd floor. Yeah, I have. Yeah, everywhere you go, like we did here in the States. You remember, Billy, a couple of years back, we bought a barrel of Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And we bottled it, and Jack Daniels made little tags for Widow Sons on it, and so it's kind of cool. One thing we have is merchandising. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But it's taken off through the roof.
I've got to ask you another question that's somewhat about merchandising. Have you ever had any of Angelo's lasagna?
Oh, who's in? Who's lasagna?
Angelo's DeSario's lasagna.
Oh, I've eaten
I've
it
heard he
too.
makes some.
Yeah,
I've heard he's made.
You got to see him on a grill. He's a killer on the grill too.
I've heard he's made some really good lasagna, but he won't give us any. He's me and Sam's been told a lot about some lasagna, but for some reason he just told us we don't.
He'll give it to you.
No, you know I'm telling you.
What you got to do with him is you got to try to keep him one spot for more than an hour. You know what I mean? That man is so busy.
I know he is.
And when most worshipful David Lynch was, I mean, it was him and Angela. They were every time I call him up. I said, "Where you at?" I said, "Man, you got a break." He's like, "We got to do what we got to do," you know.
Yeah.
And he did that all through his health scare. You know, he had the heart, he had situation in his heart, if you remember, and his leg, and he pulled it off pretty damn good. Yeah, but as far as the widow's sons,
he's a good man.
The bet.
No, we tease him about that lasagna all the time.
I'll break his chops. I'll just ask Carol.
He won't give it up, man. He won't give it up.
Well, you do. You grab DeSante, his son, pull him to the side, say, "Hey, kid, I want some of that lasagna." He'll get it to you.
Hey, you know what? It's become a joke now all the time. We tease him about it all the time now.
Yeah,
so it's all good.
Yeah,
it's we really appreciate you taking time to come and talk to us.
Rob, brother, any given moment, anytime you need me, that's what it's about.
Because, but I mean, you getting on here, it reaches a whole group of people. And we're hoping to bring not only that light into the people knowing about the Widow's Sons and maybe get some more people that might be interested in joining the Widow's Sons.
Absolutely.
And, everybody
that's our job, brother.
Yeah. We want to make membership to not only Masons, but, people that say, hey, how do I get to be a Widow's Sons? Well, you got to be a Mason first,
listen, we add to the, how do I say? We added to the Masonic menu. If that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
So, what's a Mason? What do we say to each other? Are you a traveling man, right?
Yeah.
Right? Are you a traveling man? Yes, I'm a traveler. Widow's Sons, guess what? We travel. That's part of our thing. To travel. And I said that in the presentation as well, and the Grand Master's agreed. I said, we're traveling men, are we not? So if you want to see the world, become a Widow's Son. Now, let me explain. Billy, I go all over the place, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I think I'm scheduled for 7 countries this year alone, I believe.
Wow,
so,
man.
Yeah. The wife's not happy, but she'll be over it. I just got to call. I got to go to. They want me to go to Italy for their first rally. We opened up Italy Fresh last year.
You're gonna love it.
She goes, "You're not going without me." I said, "Well, you've been to Italy already. I've never been there." She goes, "Oh, I'm going." I'm like, "Son of a gun." But anyway, but that's life, right? Happy wife, happy life.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, I was going back to. So, as a widow's son, if you want to see the world, number one as a Mason you can, but number two as a widow's son. So once you want to travel around the world, like us, and it's not just who individuals are, it's anybody. Like you heard them call my house up here. They call it the compound, right? Because it's a nice, cool setup, right? And I collect motorcycles.
Yeah.
People say, "What are you doing with bikes? You don't get to ride them all." I said, "Well, I do ride them all, but best I can if I can. But I mostly have it, and I spend all that money. They go, "Oh, that costs so much money." Because brothers come here and visit all the time.
Yeah.
So so a brother can fly in, and a lot of them want to come to Chicago because, especially widow's sons, because they say, "Well, I want to go to Chicago where it all started," that kind of stuff, in their mind, and then we'll take them there. Like a lot of brothers too, we'll do a layover in O'Hare. We'll run out, pick them up. They take them all by the Mirage because they want to see that, and we'll take them out to eat and show them a little bit and get them back on a plane. So we stop to do what we have to do to help out the brothers.
Yeah.
But I said traveling. Where else are you going to go? And we've been everywhere. Where, you pay for your flight. That's fine. Just like everybody else has to. You get off a plane. You got built-in tour guides wherever you're going because our brothers, that's where they live, right? Mm-hmm. So you know where to eat, where not to eat. They take you. And most of them are going to want to put you up anyway. Just like I put people up here. It's just me and Jenny in 3,000 square feet. Plus I have a coach house, everything else. I mean, for the grand gathering, I think I had 20-something people staying here for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, there's an old saying, right? Having company is like fish. Having fish in your house after the 4th day, if it starts to stink, get rid of them. Kidding around. But I was just kidding. But we do it. I mean, our brothers, they come from all over. So you get off a plane and you and you get there. You got a place to stay. You got buses to show you places around. You're safe. And in most cases, you got a depending on the season, you got a motorcycle to ride.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna get that no place else.
No.
I'm sorry. you're not going to get anywhere else.
No.
And the same way they love coming here and they know they're safe and secure. And it's to the point now where it's safe that you can bring your wife or your kids.
Yep.
You know, it's a big world.
Great.
Listen, I could say real quickly, we're in countries that people didn't even know we're in. You know, I could say it really quick. I mean, we got brothers in Russia. We have brothers in, they're there.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, everything's low key, obviously, because of Masonry itself, but our brothers are there, you know, period. And, it's just a wild thing, man. I mean, I enjoy it so much. I get a kick at you know, when you travel somewhere, even in the United States, say you go down to Louisiana, before you know it, you're talking something like you damn live in the goddamn, you sound like you live in the bayou, you know. And if you go to, like, I'm a New Yorker originally, so I go back there and I come back here in the Midwest, and I'm talking so damn fast in a New York accent that people can't understand me, you know. And but it's great. But I want to thank you, brothers, please, for this time. I mean, listen, anytime you need to get together and talk again, I'm here for you.
God bless you, man. God bless you. It's an absolute
and we
heartwarming.
will take you up on that because
you got to remember, we only touched on a little bit.
Yes,
there's a whole big world out there.
Absolutely.
You know, there's only so much you could do in an hour. My wife keeps beeping in. She's down in Stone Dog, Carolina.
Yeah, you talk to her.
She's gonna murder me.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
My brothers, listen, nothing but love and respect. Have a good time. Can't wait to get together, have a cocktail, see each other.
Yeah.
And remember, we're Mason first, brothers.
Yeah. God bless. Godspeed.
Everything else follows. Yeah.
Yep.
God bless you. None but love.
Thank you for listening to On the Level Podcast, your Masonic podcast. When you are ready, duly and truly prepared, you can always knock on the door.